Welcome back. Tonight's story takes you to haunted places in Kansas. Fort Leavenworth holds the distinction of being the oldest continually operating military post west of the Mississippi River, and it's considered one of the most haunted forts in the U.S. The cemetery within the fort has been in use since 1844, although it was not officially consecrated until 1862. It is estimated that the cemetery houses the earthly remains of some 20,000 United States soldiers. However, strangely enough, the specters that are said to haunt the cemetery are not servicemen. One of the most commonly spotted apparitions is said to be the ghost of Catherine Sutter, an early pioneer woman. Catherine's children were lost in a winter storm while out gathering firewood, and Catherine spent the winter searching for them before finally succumbing to pneumonia. She is now said to wander the cemetery in a calico dress and black shawl, holding up a lantern and calling for her children. There is also a spirit of an American Indian known as Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce. He was incarcerated at Fort Leavenworth in 1877 and is now said to haunt the cemetery. Hutchinson Public Library has been in place since 1901, and it is apparently haunted by the spirit of a former librarian, called Ida Day. While she was alive, Ida Day was well known for being stoic and serious at all times. To all intents and purposes, she seems to have been the stereotypical strict librarian type. It seems as though Ida has taken her old habits to the grave. She is frequently seen in the basement of the library. Most of the time she is seen as a shadowy figure, or people hear phantom footsteps and feel cold spots. However, on one particular occasion, a new librarian claims that she was confronted by a stern old lady who emerged from the shadows under the stairs. When she responded to the woman's questioning, she simply dissolved into the dark. For the most part, Ida's ghost is stern but harmless. She is sometimes seen sorting through books or just browsing the racks and not bothering anyone. Perhaps she simply loved her job and wanted to continue it even after her death. The town of Abilene in Kansas was established back in 1857, although back then it was known as Mud Creek. The name was not changed to Abilene until 1860. The town grew quickly over the years, and in the 1890s Dwight Eisenhower moved there with his family and attended elementary school and high school there. The town is now governed by the historic Abilene Incorporated Board, and the end goal is to restore the town to its fully functioning former glory. For now, though, it has become a haven for those interested in the paranormal, since it is said that the spirits of the Old West live on in Abilene. Abilene has long been known to be one of the most haunted places in Kansas, and perhaps one of the most haunted towns in the entire United States. Ghost tours happen here on a regular basis, and many of the participants have captured potential evidence in their photographs and videos. Disembodied voices are heard around town pretty frequently, and visitors have reported feeling cold spots and also being touched by unseen hands. There are also some reports of apparitions of cowboys and other townspeople. The Beaumont Inn was built back in 1879 to serve as a stagecoach stop for passengers who were traveling between Wichita and Fredonia. However, when aviation became more popular, an airstrip was built and passengers would take a break mid-flight at the inn. The Beaumont is now a unique hotel that has been restored and upgraded with private baths, deluxe rooms, and fancy suites. It is also reputed to be one of the most haunted places in Kansas. At one time, the Beaumont was actually a brothel. Local legend states that one of the married women who worked there fell in love with a regular customer, and her enraged husband turned up one day and murdered his wife's lover, a cowboy named Zeke. Today, staff and guests alike have reported seeing a translucent figure of a cowboy at the top of the stairs. He is a little mischievous. Zeke's ghost has a penchant for movie chairs and placing them behind doors so that guests struggle to open the door. However, the most common paranormal event at the hotel involves the clock radios in the bedrooms. Every so often, every single one of them will go off at the same time, usually between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. Guests have also reported unexplained banging and the sound of spurs jangling. Anyone who has an interest in the paranormal has most likely heard of the Sallie House, one of the most haunted places in Kansas. This otherwise ordinary house shot to fame when there was some alarming poltergeist activity in the 1990s, said to be the work of a girl named Sally. The house was built sometime between 1867 and 1871 and was occupied by the same family, the Finneys, for more than a century. In 1993, Deborah and Tony Pickman moved in, and almost immediately the strange activity began. To start with, the family dog would bark at empty spaces. Then the activity escalated to electronic disturbances and poltergeist activity, in the form of their child's toys rearranging themselves. The disturbances gradually worsened over time, with small fires breaking out in the house and Tony being attacked. He seemed to be the main focus of the attacks and sustained various scratches and bruises on his arms, stomach, and back. Prior to each attack, a cold spot would be experienced. It is generally believed that Sally was a girl who died in the house at the hands of her doctor in the 1900s. Since the home had been occupied by a single female resident for 40 years prior to the Pickman family moving in, it has been suggested that Sally picked on Tony specifically because he was a man and reminded her of that doctor. The Eldridge Hotel in Lawrence was originally built in 1855 as the Free State Hotel, and over the years it has burned down not once, but twice. In 1970, the hotel was closed and converted into apartments, but it was restored as a hotel in 1985. As well as hosting famous guests, the Eldridge Hotel has a few ghosts in residence. It is claimed that the fifth floor is a portal to a spirit realm, with most of the activity happening in room 506. Guests report a variety of activity, including doors opening and closing by themselves, lights flicking on and off, and clean mirrors have breath-like misting appearing on them. There are also cold spots felt throughout the hotel, and the elevator tends to stop up on the fifth floor when nobody is there. The Midland Railroad Hotel was built around the turn of the 20th century and was gutted in a fire in 1902. It is believed several guests perished in the blaze, which is likely the cause of the hauntings here. Guests staying on the third floor say they have smelled smoke and even seen flames which suddenly vanish, leaving no trace of fire behind. There are also reports of various apparitions dressed in old-fashioned clothing wandering the halls. I want to thank you for watching. And until then, good night.